Hey there, hey friends, Ken here, your Thrifty Apprentice. Happy Wednesday, everyone, and welcome back into the studio. In today's video, I do have a quick little time lapse for you guys. From the top, I'll remind you, as I always do, you can use the gear icon in the top right or bottom right corner of your video viewer in order to control the playback speed, just in case you want to slow the video down. Now, in this video, I am tackling one of the prompts from the Thrifty Cheap Art Challenge, which is about to wrap itself up because we are rapidly approaching the end of September. Great big shout out and thank you to everyone who has been participating in this challenge. It has filled my heart with so much joy to see that there are so many people enjoying grabbing those fun art products, taking the prompts and creating whatever it inspires them to create, which I just love. I absolutely love it. So thank you to everyone who's been participating. Now, what I'm doing here is tackling the prompt crystal. And instead of going in the normal direction of doing like a gemstone or a piece of crystal rock, I decided to go with crystal ball, especially since Halloween is almost upon us. Now, I'm doing it a little different. I'm going to be throwing a landscape in so that it looks as if though the ball is gazing onto a fantasy landscape. And it's going to be pretty straightforward and simple. This illustration is very beginner friendly, so I encourage any and everyone to give it a try. Now, the bottom part of the crystal ball is on a metal stand, which is what I'm really concentrating on putting most of the detail into. For the Thrifty Cheap Art Challenge, especially since I've been using fun art supplies, I really haven't put too much pressure on myself to create anything spectacular or mind-blowing. I've really used it as a chance to kind of practice and hone in on some drawing skills, practice some other techniques and watercolors and other different mediums that I feel like I needed to work on. And I feel like monthly challenges are a wonderful, wonderful way to do that. It's also a wonderful way to go back and tackle some of those videos you may have saved or some written instructions you may have saved that you thought you would try in the future. So, hey, use challenges to your advantage. Now, what I have done up until this point is basically paint the bottom of the crystal ball, the holder that it sits on, again, that's supposed to be metal, with different shades and tones of gray. Now, I was using a reference photo that I found on Google, and basically I'm just painting what I see, adding in the lighter gray tones on first, which was the base layer, a mixture of ultramarine, a little bit of burnt sienna, and a little bit of burnt umber. Then I went in and added a second layer from that same mixture in the areas that would have heavier gray secondary tones. I grabbed a fine liner in order to fine line everything because ultimately this does turn out to be a ink and wash. And then I'm going to go in with darker layers, the more saturated, the deepest of that color, and put it in as well, just in the different areas. And you'll see that the lights and the medium and the darker tones start to create a shift in the illustration to sort of make it look like it's metal. Now, this is not a realistic painting, it's a realistic-ish painting, which is what I tend to do most of the time. Now, I'm using a number 6 round nylon brush because I did want something that was going to offer me pretty good water control as I tried to tackle this. I knew it would be a couple of layers, but I really wasn't too worried because it's really just layering techniques. There's not a lot of blending because I'm trying to produce metal, so to speak. Most of my shadows and most of my lines in this are pretty hard and sharp so that you would have the light and the dark kind of playing and reflecting and refracting off of each other so that hopefully in the end it would end up, or your metal would end up, should I say, with a shiny feel to it. So that's all that I'm really doing. 3 different shades of gray. I honestly made one puddle of gray from the ultramarine, burnt sienna, and burnt umber. And then using different amounts of water in that puddle gave me the different shades or the different values of gray that I needed in order to do my lights, my midtones, and my darks. And of course, the darkest of it being the fine liner the ink from the fine lining pen. And ultimately, I think it really did sort of give me the impression of the reference photo that I was looking at. Now, it took me a little bit longer to paint this than I thought. Although it's beginner friendly, I was really trying my best to pay attention to where the different values went, looking back and forth between my creation and the reference photo, trying to get it as close to looking like metal as I could. Now, it's not something that I paint on a regular basis, so in this instance, I tried my best not to deviate too far from what the reference photo was depicting. Eventually, I got the stand to the point where I felt like all of the gray value was in place, and once I added on the major highlights, it would more than likely look like a reflective surface. So at that point, I decided it was okay to go ahead and move into painting the actual ball area of the crystal ball. This part, really straightforward. I'm going to do a silhouetted sunset because I put so much time into the actual holder for the ball. I wanted to kind of keep the landscape inside it really easy and straightforward. So a sunset using 3 different colors. I'm using an ultramarine blue. I'm going to be using more of your alizarin crimson, rose leaning red, and then I'm going to use it's a cad yellow, so it's going to be more golden leaning versus more lemon leaning. So whatever your cooler yellow is what I would use depending on the set that you have. Now, I didn't tell you guys, and I do apologize, I am using Artwell 24 half pan watercolor set, and I am painting on some paper that I'm testing out, as I have been over the last couple of videos, for permanent binding into the sketchbook I plan to release. So that's what I'm working on. I painted in the sky with the blue and the rose and the yellow. I'm taking a paper towel in order to blot out a few clouds. And remember, when you do this technique, you want to press and lift and not rub your paper, especially if you're painting on a wood pulp cellulose paper, student grade, because it may actually damage your paper if you rub it. I wouldn't suggest rubbing any paper, even if it's cotton, but definitely not if it's a student grade paper. Now, I'm going to take those same colors and reflect them down into the water section of the actual ball. Pretty straightforward, pretty easy, matching the colors under the colors, and you're going to get a kind of mirror reflection of the colors from the sky into the water. Makes the landscape really, really easy. Everything else that we put in the landscape section after getting these colors blended together is going to be painted from that gray we mixed in order to do the bottom of the crystal ball stand. Now, making sure that all of these colors are same and carry across the entire image helps me keep color harmony and helps the eye from seeing something off-putting or harsh as you look at the actual illustration. For the landscape itself, pretty straightforward. Mountains, a couple of rocks in the water, and then some tall grass towards the foreground front of the image. Now I'm going to paint this mountain in, and I wasn't really pleased with the saturation. I think I added too much water when I painted it in the first time, so I'm actually going to go back in with a second layer of paint in order to darken that mountain. I'm really not sure at this point whether I should have done that. Maybe I should have left it with the lighter gray value, but I did put a second coat on it just to darken it up. And I feel like it pulled the mountain closer to the foreground than I initially wanted it to be. But you know, what can you do? It's just a piece of paper. You keep pushing forward and you keep trucking to finish the illustration. So I'm throwing a couple of rocks in, again using that same dark. And I'm going to be putting the shadow in with the same dark using a watered down version of it. Now here I'm actually moving into putting in the tall grasses in the foreground, and that's really going to start to wrap this entire video up. You'll see me grab a white gel pen, a little bit of bleed proof to throw in some highlights, and in that tall grass I'm actually going to mix in grasses that are made from the different colors that I put in the sky and the water. Yeah, real straightforward. I really hope you guys give it a try. It was fun for me to attempt. It's not really complicated, so definitely give this a try. Use whatever you want. It doesn't matter. All right, friends, that's going to pretty much wrap everything up for me. If you found, saw, heard, picked up on anything you like or just enjoyed the painting, don't forget to sprinkle a little love and give the video a thumbs up. Please feel free to share the video because sharing is caring. It'll help get it in front of other wonderful viewers like yourself and help to grow and build this thrifty community that we're creating together. Now, if you're new or returning and you haven't subscribed, please do consider subscribing, hitting the notification bell so that you'll know when we go live, when we upload. The comment section is wide open. Don't hesitate at any point to drop a question, leave a comment, feedback. I will get back to answering questions as soon as I can. No doubt about that. And lastly, you can check the video description for all of the relevant links. You are going to get the link for the Defyantarts website, which I encourage you guys to check out on a regular basis. You'll get the link for Palm Street, which we do lives twice a month, twice every other month. There are live sales that go on along with live paint-alongs. So if you've never experienced a live over on Palm Street, I definitely suggest you give it a try. You can check out all of the social site links, the most recommended product list, as well as the artist wish list in case you decide you ever want to support the channel in any shape, form, or fashion. And lastly, don't forget Patreon, where we have the creation station and all of the great perks and extra videos and behind the scene footage that goes along with that. And yeah, enjoy your day, guys, and remember, as I tell you at the end of every single video, just keep creating, my friends.